Do you feel like you're barely keeping your head above water? That no matter how hard you try, meaningful progress remains out of reach? Heather gets that. She battled an eating disorder for years before seeking help. Now in recovery, Heather is here to tell you that positive change is possible even when it doesn't feel that way. Join her as she shares openly about her struggles and small triumphs. Fair warning though, Heather doesn't hold back. Her candid story may trigger some. But for those wanting honesty, hope, and healing, this is 1% Better with Heather. The information and stories shared on 1% Better are based on host Heather's personal experiences with eating disorders and mental health challenges. Heather is not a licensed doctor, therapist, dietitian, or other health professional. Her advice and opinions should not be taken as professional medical advice. Please consult your physician or a qualified health provider regarding any medical or health-related issues. 1% Better also contains descriptions of eating disorders that may be triggering for some listeners. Discretion is advised.
Hey there, fellow gaffers, and welcome to 1% Better with Heather. Today's episode is Hospital Part 2. There's going to be a lot of parts about the hospital. I have notes because things are really, really fuzzy, and I had to write stuff down so I don't forget anything, so please bear with me. Also, on my podcast, I always do a disclaimer. On this episode, there will be talk numbers. So if that flips you out, don't listen. So the next day, I phoned the facility that I was supposed to go to after going to the hospital. I phoned because I have the magical power of if my name's on paperwork, it just goes missing. So I want to make sure that they got it. I phone. The person on the other end of the phone says, "We're going to call you back." Okay. I didn't hear anything until 3:45 in the afternoon. And there's a woman on the other end of the phone saying, "Okay, we got your paperwork. You need to go back to the hospital." And I was like, "What? Why?" And she's like, "You shouldn't have been discharged. You need to go back." And I was like, no way, not going. I said, "I got the paperwork. Doctor says I'm fine. Just got low potassium. Got to eat a banana." She's like, "No, Heather, you need to go back." And then I said, "Fuck you. No, I don't." And she said, "Heather, you're sick. You need to go back." And I was like, "No, I'm an adult. You can't make me. I'm not going. I just need to get into this program." And she said, "Heather, we have phoned my local police department. If you do not go, the police will come take you under the Mental Health Act in Canada." And then I started bawling, bawling. I was like, no, 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 no. This has got to be a mistake. I got released. Everything's fine. Let me talk to my doctor. And she's like, "No." She's like, "Heather, I've talked to your doctor. This is the way it's got to go." And I was like, "No, no, 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 no. Let me call my husband. Let me call my husband." So I hang up. I call my husband. I am not speaking English at this moment. It feels like I'm having an outer body experience. Like, I don't know what's going on right now. And he says, "Heather, pack your stuff. You need to go to the hospital." And I was like, "No, no, no. Like, you just need to tell them that I don't need to go. I was there yesterday." He's like, "Heather, I talked to them." And I was like, "You motherfucker, you were talking to them?" So now I think like he's in on it, right? This is a big conspiracy for Heather. And I'm like, "I hate you." I said a lot of bad things. Let's just put it that way. I phoned the lady back and I'm like, "Listen, Now I'm like really trying to suck up. And I'm like, again, I think this is, you know, we got some wires crossed here. I didn't mean to yell at you. I'm sorry. But I don't need to go back. I was there yesterday. And she's like, we know you shouldn't have been discharged. And I was like, oh my God. I said, no, 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 please, please don't make me. And she's like, Heather, you need to go get hooked up to a feeding tube. And I was like, okay, well, why can't I come home? I said, why can't you just hook me up throughout the day and then I'll just come home? And she's like, it doesn't work like that. And I'm like, yes, it does. As in, my grandma had a brain aneurysm when I was a teenager and she lived with us, and I saw how to tube feed someone. She, like, the machine was in my house. And she's like, no, it's not going to work like that. You need to go. And I'm like, no, I'm not. And she's like, Heather, right in this moment, if you are telling me no, the police will be at your house in 10 minutes. Which one do you want? And I was like, okay, I'm going. No, thank you. Don't need the police at my house. I'm good. So I phoned my husband back and I'm like, again, screaming at him. And he's like, call XYZ, get them over to your house to help you pack. I'm on my way home. Hang up on him. My friend shows up and she says to me, a friend of mine went through this. They're going to put you in a place in the hospital where you're going to get better. It's okay. And I'm like, oh, okay, okay. So it's the end of June, right? So it's summertime. And I'm thinking, well, fuck that. I'll go. I don't have to like comply with anything. I'll just be there and be there under duress, so to speak. So I start packing bikinis and suntan lotion and shorts and tank tops. Clearly I'm going to Club Med. Clearly my brain ain't working either. So I'm thinking I'm going to go to Shangri-La, right? My husband comes home and he's like, "Okay, let's pack a little bit differently here." So I pack my blanket and my pillow and my shampoo and all that, right? Some magazines. And another friend comes over. I'm still bawling. I'm like, "I don't want to do this. Please don't make me." I'm trying to like figure out how I can flee my house without no one noticing me, because I'm going to get in my car and run away, right? I'm like, how far can I get without them finding me, right? And then I remember I'm like grabbing my car keys and like walking around and like grabbing my purse. And I got an intervention with the car keys and my friends took the keys. So my husband says, okay, we got to go. So we get in the car. I'm not talking to him. I'm pissed right the fuck off. And we get to Sir Memorial Hospital and it is packed, packed. I'm like, of course. But I'm thinking, no, because the lady on the phone told me if I go to the hospital, they have my name. They're just going to check me in. I go get them my name, thinking I'm just going to walk right in, right? Yeah, go have a seat. Okay. So it's like 6 o'clock at night. Oh, we didn't get back into that, like the back of the emergency till like 3 a.m. In this time frame now, I'm not talking to my husband. I am smoking cigarettes like I'm a freaking chimney. I am drinking iced coffee, black, like it's going out of style. And then, because I've been up so long and clearly delusional, I thought, you know what I'm going to go do? I'm going to go over to that coffee shop and go order a bunch of food and stuff my face, because I'm going to gain 1,000 pounds in 1 minute. And they're going to be like, hey, yeah, totally misunderstanding. Bye. Yeah. So then my husband's looking at me going, what are you doing? And I'm like, well, if I just like have something, my weight's going to go up. And he's like, oh my God, no, get it through your head. You're not leaving here. So we get in the back room and a bunch of people are coming in. I'm getting blood work, ECGs, nurse after nurse, urine tests. They're asking me what drugs I'm on, and I'm like, I'm not a drug addict. And really, to be fair, if you know Surrey, haha, trust me, I look like one. I look like something else, let me tell you. In this moment, in this moment, I weigh 84 pounds. I am 5'10". I am sick, sick, sick. So then, and then the eating disorder doctor showed up the next day. The next day. And she comes in and she is horrified. She takes one look at me and she's like, "What the fuck?" And I remember saying to her, "Can I go home now? Like, I've eaten, I've had, like, I'm good, I'm good." And she says, "Heather, you're not leaving at all. Like, you're here for a while, for a while." And I was like, "No, no, 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 I'm good." And she's like, "Heather," I said, I promise, I'll go home and eat. You'll never see me again. It's okay." And she's like, "Heather, you are so sick at this point. If we fed you, you would have a heart attack." And she goes on to tell me that right now, just sitting there, I have a 90% chance of having a heart attack right then and there. Then she looks at me and says, "Heather, you have 2 weeks to live." She's like, "You are dying, dying. And if you make it 2 weeks, I'll be shocked. If you make it 7 days, I'm going to be shocked." She's like, "We can't feed you. You can't go home and just eat because," and it goes back to World War II camps when the people came out of the camps. When they rescued them, got them out, the first thing that they did to them was feed them. And unfortunately, they killed them because all that food, so much their heart couldn't take it and they had a freaking heart attack. She's like, "We can't. We can't let you eat. We have to tube feed you and it has to be in increments and measured. And this is very, very, very serious. Also, if you have a heart attack, do you want us to bring you back?" I'm like, "Yeah, of course." And she's like, "Well, Heather, you have to understand, you could die. There's a very good, like very good chance. If you were betting in Vegas, there's a very good chance I was going to die." And she said, "Okay, now you have to fill out all these papers," which I only thought existed in the movies. Honestly, I've never seen that before in my life. And I've been in the hospital before. Like, no one's ever asked me if I wanted like CPR to be brought back. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, and that's a lot of papers, let me tell you. And she just kept saying, "You have no clue how sick you are. No clue. You should never have been released yesterday." She's like, "I have no idea how that happened. The doctor that saw anyone with two eyes and a heartbeat who was looking at me would be like, hell no," right? She's like, "I don't know." She's like, "I was even on shift yesterday. I don't know how they'd even call me to come see you because there's no way in hell I was letting you go anywhere. We got you back. You're not leaving." And she said, "I can keep you for 48 hours. That's it. However, that's almost up now because I've been there 24." She's like, "If you decide to leave this hospital after 48 hours, I will phone the police. They will bring you back here, and it's not going to go well for you." right now, in this moment, if you promise me you'll stay, I will let you smoke as I do. I'm not proud of it, but I'm a smoker. She's like, I will let you smoke. And I said, can I have my cigarette in the morning and a cup of coffee? She's like, I will give you that. If you promise right now that you don't leave, you can get up in the morning, have your smoke, and get your coffee. After that, you are on 24-hour bed rest. You're not allowed to get up and walk around. You're not allowed to go check out the hospital. You're to sit in a freaking bed and not move. My body was burning so many calories in that moment. I was burning more than obviously what was going in. So she's like, we got to make you stop. We have to stop you and not kill me at the same time. So I'll let you have that, but that's it. And she's like, if you leave and the police bring you back here, that's all off the table. And I was like, oh, well, I need coffee in the morning. I need at least a cigarette in the morning. I'm like, all right, I can handle that. So I agree. And I will say this doctor, and I have to look up her name. I cannot remember for the life of me. Amazing woman. Amazing. So nice. And I'm crying and I'm crying and I'm like, I don't want to be here. Please just let me leave. And she's like, Heather, again, you're going to die. She's like, think about your kids. And I'm not proud of what I said next. I said, they have an amazing stepmom. They'll be fine. And she's like, Heather, no, no, this is the eating disorder talking. This is not what a normal person says. And I'm like, I was so confused on two ends of the spectrum. I'm so scared. I haven't slept. I haven't eaten in forever. I'm being told I'm getting, like, I'm in the hospital, which now I call Hotel California, where you can check in and never leave. And all my rights are getting stripped from me. Like, I don't just get to go do whatever I want or eat whatever I want or, you know, and that sounds like torture, being told that I have to sit in a bed for 24 hours a day and not move. Like, no. And then all this stuff's going through my head at the same time. I'm like, my mom's on vacation at my aunt's house. My dad's sick with dementia. And I'm like, fuck, they can't know. Thank God my kids were on vacation with their dad at this point. They can't know. And I'm like, the three people that came to my house to help me pack know. And I made them swear, like, on their life that they wouldn't tell anybody. And I'm like, oh my God, can you imagine if this gets around my gossipy family? Oh my God, Heather is insane. And they actually locked her up this time. Oh my God. And I'm like, my parents are going to be pissed. If my parents find out that I'm in the hospital, oh my God, what the hell? Right? And all this stuff's going through my head. And I'm like, what happens if my ex-husband finds out who he's a chotch? And I'm like, fuck, he's going to, like, hold this over my kid's head. See, your mom is crazy. And after all that horrible divorce, like, all this shit is going through my head. And I'm like, fuck. Right? And I just cried, like, cried, and I'm like, I want help. I do. But I don't want my body to change because I like the way I look. And I know everyone with two eyes and a heartbeat knows that it's like a horrific way to look. I'm thinking I look amazing and everyone else is on another planet. And they're like, Heather, that's the eating disorder talking. And my husband is pleading with me, pleading. He's like, Heather, please, please. He's like, just stay, just stay. And in that moment, I'm thinking, I'm going to lose my marriage. I'm probably going to die. Why would I want to die in the hospital? So I'm like packing up my shit like a crazy person. And then the doctor grabs me again and says, Heather, please stay. We will not let anything bad happen to you. She's like, I will fight for you. I will be your best friend in here. I know. I know you're a fighter because you didn't get to this size without being a fighter. And you've gotten this far. You've gotten so far. You're already here. Aren't you tired? I'm like, yeah, I'm tired. She's like, just try. Just try. So I said, okay. I sat down. I'm like, all right, let's do this. And then she says, okay, we have to get the feeding tube. All right. So that was a shit show. They come in with this thing as big as a freaking garden hose. And I'm like, you're not putting that up my nose. You got to be freaking kidding me. So a dietitian was there with me, and she was really, really, really nice. And she talks to the nurse and says, go to Pete's, go get one for kids. And they found like the tube feeding guru at Sur Memorial Hospital. Her name's Cassandra, so shout out to Cassandra. I remember her because 2 other people tried to put this thing up my nose and it didn't work. And I will tell you this part about a feeding tube if you don't know. They measure from like your ear almost to your crotch. And I was like, and they said the number, I want to say it was like 70. I was like, 70 what? Right? Yeah. That does not pay to be tall in this moment, let me tell you, because that's all got to go in. So this amazing woman, they put it in. She gives me a bunch of water. She's like, chug, go. That is the worst thing I've ever experienced in my life. I learned about Egypt in grade 7 in social studies and how they do mummification and how they take like the brain out through the nose with this hook. I'm pretty sure that's how it feels. The only good thing is those mummies, those fuckers were dead. I was alive and I had to deal with, oh my God, it was the worst ever. Oh my God, I do not wish that on anybody at all. And then they take you to X-ray to make sure they didn't put the tube in your lung. So that all went down. So now I'm in a merge with a tube shoved up my nose. I've talked to 2 psychiatrists in that time as well. I don't remember what I said to them. I'm surprised they didn't lock me up. I probably told them to fuck right off too. And then the shit show really starts. 1% better every day. Take care of you.
That's all for this episode of 1% Better. To continue the conversation, head over to our website at www.1percentbetter.ca, where you can access more stories and resources. We'd also love it if you subscribed and left us a review on your favorite podcast platform. And remember, friends, progress takes patience, perspective, and sometimes a little help from people who get it. So be kind to yourself and others as we work to get 1% better every day. We'll see you back here next week.